why you love self-storage. Come join us.
I love self-storage.
Yeah.
It's just become a part of my life. It really has. More than a career, because most of my good friends have come from self-storage. It's been such a blessing.
Yeah.
Not just a career blessing, but a blessing in life as well.
I love self-storage because of the people and the energy that they bring. I don't think I've ever seen an industry that's just this passionate about what they do, and there's always just something fun and exciting going on.
I'm so grateful. The community, the ISS, the SSA, all the associations have been, amazing. The friendships, and I have the privilege of again traveling to a lot of the state shows and the national shows. And again, it's just the community here is great, such as yourself and this SBOA team has been amazing since they've come on the scene. I see a lot of amazing people doing amazing things, and it really inspires me to keep going.
To me, it's the people and the vendors and everything around. A lot of competitors, a lot of different solutions. Things are growing in the industry, but everybody is here to help each other.
Yeah.
But what I like the most is I think the innovation. It's amazing. I love the innovation, and I really like the people.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
I love the people in this business.
Yeah.
There are so many good-hearted, true blue, nice people here.
Yeah.
The other people here who do what we do are our friends.
Yeah.
I love the fact that people need stuff, and the more stuff that they need, the more they need to store it.
Right.
And when people are storing their stuff, they need a hug.
Yeah.
They need love.
They do.
We help people through a transitioning time and provide a service directly to their door while enriching storage professionals with additional revenue.
What I love about self-storage is that you're always meeting new people.
Always.
I love to just have a conversation with people, hear their stories, hear about what they do, because there's so many different things in the self-storage industry that you can be into, whether it be software development, tenant and commercial insurance like what we do. There's a lot of different colors and mixes in the industry, so that's what I would love about it. And also the conferences have some great venues too. So that's always a good perk, right?
My favorite thing about self-storage would have to be the opportunity to work with powerful and supportive women like yourself and Iris and the rest of the entire industry as a whole. I think a theme for women in the industry is women empowering women very much comes across, whether you're a competitor or not even in the same technology or magazines or anything in the space. Everyone supports each other and is willing to help each other and provide feedback and resources. And that is huge in this space.
And probably the thing I love most about the industry is the people. You meet people from all over the country, all the vendors at these shows, your partners. They all have an interest in helping your business succeed and making the industry move forward. And everybody's kind of working towards the same goal. So that's been the best part.
Hi, Storage Defender is the pioneer and leader of providing smart units as a service. We provide tenants peace of mind over their valuables and facilities more profit per unit. Our smart unit service is very easy to install for our facilities. Tenants of all ages love it because there's no app required. Storage Defender sends a simple text message whenever it sees motion to the tenants. We offer our partners a pay-as-you-grow service model and a complete marketing package to help them maximize their revenue. Reach out to us. Thank you.
Welcome everyone out there in self-storage land. I'm Iris Segan, president of the Storage Business Owners Alliance, and I'm thrilled to kick off today's webinar, Show Me the Money, How to Leverage AI and Smart Technology. The session will be all about practical, proven ways operators are using AI, smart units, and connected tech to drive revenue and streamline your operations. Whether you're just getting started or looking to level up, you're going to walk away with real-world insights today that you can put into action. So before we get going, a quick heads up, I'll be stepping off the main conversation after introductions, but I am sticking around behind the scenes to moderate your questions. So please be sure to, I see there's plenty of people active in the chat already. Keep your questions coming in the chat. We want to get them answered for you live today. We are ending at 12 because it's holiday weekend. Happy 4th of July. And we're going to try to get all those questions answered for you. So with that, I'm excited to introduce our guest host today, Mark Sierri from Storage Defender. Hey, Mark, how are you? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Mark. I tried.
There we go. All right. I was
There we
wondering.
go.
Well, thank you, Iris. I appreciate the invite, folks. Great to see you. Mark Sierri, CEO of Storage Defender. We are a smart technology company, most known for being the leaders of smart units as a service, a tenant paid service, but we do full facility smart technology. And we're surely excited today to show you the money with smart technology and AI. And I'm looking forward to getting going here in a moment there, Iris.
Yeah, this is one of the hottest topics out there. So thank you so much for joining us, hosting today. I'm going to step off the stage and I will bring up Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy, come on, man. Introduce yourself.
Hey, welcome. Jeremy Rolwitz, the Jenkins organization. We are actually, we specialize in third-party management, acquisitions and development, 55 properties in the portfolio, and the majority of them lie in the Texas market. We're based out of Houston, Texas, and excited to be on today. Thank you.
You bet. And let's bring on Sean.
Hey guys, I'm Sean Venezia, Cubics Asset Management. We're in the San Francisco Bay Area. We own and manage 46 facilities, 41 are in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, and we have 5 in East Texas. We also do design, consulting, entitlement consulting, construction management, and obviously we manage self-storage properties.
Awesome. Hey, Sean, do you remember the movie Jerry Maguire?
Yeah.
Jeremy, do you remember the movie Jerry Maguire?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Favorite line and the basis of what one asked the other was, hey, show me the money. And that's what we want to do today. We want to take a look at how smart tech and AI, right? And I'm not going to do my dance that we usually do, but the dance is show me the money, right? And how can we leverage AI and smart technology to either make money or save money? And we're going to dig into that. And so as such, if we could go to the next slide. All right. So when I talk about enhancing revenue, we got things like dynamic optimization of pricing, targeting marketing, lead nurtures, how we do that, streamlining customer onboarding, right? When you take in new tenants, can that be made quicker, especially for online move-ins or proactive retention strategies, right? You know, abandonment in the cart or abandonment at the counter. How might AI be used for that? Things like expense reductions in operational automation and security and reducing resources or optimizing the utilization of precious resources. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Jeremy and Sean, let's get into this, man. I really enjoyed the build-up for this. And my first question for you guys as we go to the next slide is, you know, Sean, what was your first aha moment? Like when you and I don't know how long ago that was with you because you're obviously deep into this stuff, but it was like, what was like your aha moment?
Well, there's so much data that you need to have at hand to really run the business properly. And as we grew and took on more and more assets, we recognized that there was no single facility software provider that could satisfy everything for us. So we had to look at other means of pulling data in, and we use a business intelligence platform to do that.
So being able to stitch together the data in a much more effective and efficient way. That was kind of like when you saw that, was like, oh my gosh, I got access to all this data now and I can use it, right? Jeremy, what about yourself?
We've never been shy with utilizing technology, trying it out, and figuring out if it works in our dynamic. But I will say, integrating smart access control, smart units, and then 24/7 rental capability for our customers, just reducing the customer friction. That's probably one of the bigger aha moments.
For me, in a very practical way, not only am I in the industry, folks, but I have a startup company, right? So when we were getting going, and here we are six years in, I like brainstorming with it, right? I like actually iterating with Gemini or Chat GPT and talking about a business problem or a business opportunity. It's like having someone to bounce ideas off of, and then actually to structure thoughts from which I take action. For me, knowing I actually had that at my disposal was a bit of an aha moment. Now, we're a lot deeper into that. Three of us are much further than that, but that was my original aha moment. All right, let's move on to the next. Guys, many operators are still just beginning their tech journey. And I would like to know from each of you, maybe start with you, Jeremy. What was like your first, probably most impactful implementation with either smart tech or AI? Go ahead and get going on that.
Yeah, so I'd say the first would probably be dynamic pricing across the portfolio. Really gave us the ability to analyze the competition pricing and then change rates on a daily basis to the most optimized rate at the time. I mean, there's multiple algorithms, proprietary information. I don't know the rhyme or reason behind the dynamic pricing, but all I know is it works. It does take a human component to flip switches, pull levers, because every property's dynamic is slightly different, whether it be your length of stay of your customer and how you're going to hit them, be it increase or just how sensitive the market is at that time. So it allows you to dial in specifically, and then the system really does the rest. And again, it's not a leave it and forget it. It does take a human component. It does, you need to be cognizant of your competition, because the system is going to weight that specifically to how your strategy is.
What were the impacts? So why did you pick that as your sort of like one of your first most impactful? Like, what were the impacts that you saw by implementing it?
Just the revenue lift in general, actual rates, very nice increases in actual rates month over month, especially, takes the emotion out of it and allows us to kind of implement on a broader scale. And, just the lifts in general, year over year occupancy, move-in revenue, all up. Unfortunately, the move-out revenue is we're seeing that up as well. But as long as we continue pushing the occupied revenue, and hopefully these gross rates go up in some of these markets, I think we'll be in a good position.
Sean, what about yourself?
Yeah, so you say show me the money. The two things that we implemented turned out to be very timely at the kind of towards the end of 2023 was the rate management software that we integrated with our facility management software, and then leveraging the call center platform, which is now owned by Storable. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, because we all know coming out of COVID with the big rate run-ups that we have, 2023, we started to see reductions, and the call center platform allowed us to increase our closing rates from like 50 to about 75%. And on the rate management side, when we look at all the units that didn't get a rate increase and all the units that did get a rate increase, we saw about almost a 10% increase in that group. And when you leverage that across all the properties with all your turnover and whatnot and churn, we did about a 5.5% growth in revenue in the last trailing 12 months. The REITs have essentially been flat. So we've been pretty proud that we've outperformed the REITs for several quarters in a row now.
Sean, one of the things that when we were, discussing this kind of offline, one of your comments, and I wrote it down, was that no software company in the US is going to contain all the information the way we want it into one platform. And so when we're looking at like business intelligence platforms, you just kind of, you talk to me about sort of how you implement. Can you just give me a quick, give me the 1 minute version of like why you said that and kind of like how you implemented that to make the impacts that you have?
Yeah, we're capturing 17 different data sources using APIs, ETLs, reading text files into the business platform. Things like Google Analytics, your Google pay-per-click, Facebook pay-per-click, our store track market data, the facility management data, our call center data. So 17 different sources. We bring it all together, and then we're able to cross analyze data from different data sources. So like, for example, if we're worried about a slowdown in move-ins, we could typically see that coming because the number of clicks, the number of searches, the number of visits to our sites all drop before we see a drop in demand. So it's very helpful in pricing. So before we start to see things happening in terms of reduced move-ins, we can adjust our pricing ahead of time and be nimble as a result of that data. It's 17 different data sources.
One of the themes, as folks, a lot of you have, a property or two are looking at getting into the space. You're seeing two companies here that have 40, 50, 60 properties, right? And so it might seem overwhelming. Try to pick one or two things that you're going to try from this, or reach out to any of us, because obviously like guys like, for example, and Sean, he's not just turned 17 different data sources into one overnight. These are the benefits you have working with someone that has that kind of knowledge. Last piece that I want to highlight, Jeremy, is you commented on smart unit technology and how that was kind of not just like an aha moment, but I mean, we got started together 4 years ago when you were one of the first adopters of smart unit technology. Talk about your implementation. Actually, we just completed together a case study.
Yeah, I'll tell you, smart units are right there neck and neck with the dynamic pricing. I mean, the smart unit technology, in some cases, we're seeing an additional $5,000 in reoccurring charges at the property, which is huge. And like I mentioned before, since in some markets with rates being flat and trying to get leased back up, to be able to differentiate yourself and complete that ring of security, tie into the whole security piece and peace of mind, I think is huge for our customers. We've been doing this for a while, and I'll tell you, it wasn't magical initially. We really had to understand the product, the buy-in, the training, and I truly believe it starts with your manager, the enthusiasm, and then being able to show those magic moments, those aha moments to the customers. I remember, I mean, it seems like forever ago, Mark, but when it first was pitched, you guys pitched it at like $9 or $10 a month, and we believed in the service so much. We've implemented $12 since the beginning, and have been doing it ever since, with a 68% wide smart unit opt-in at our facility. And part of that success is measuring that on a month-to-month basis through our KPIs and bonus structure within our companies, site managers and assistant managers. So everybody has a little skin in the game, and through trial and error, we've been able to perfect the process where I'm confident that, moving forward, implementation at any property would be really, really successful in the overall penetration.
Yeah, we're getting a lot. We've been at this through COVID, believe it or not, a little less interesting back then because rate management was just boom, just pump the rates up. Now, as you well know, people are worried about rate increases. With a 68 or 7 out of 10 picking it, you're adding another $12 for every rental. We have some companies, and you're doing some as well, at 15. We even have a company in New York that's doing it at 20. So it's true. Show me the money. That's the promise of this webinar. This is another way, whether it be AI or smart technology, of adding money to your top line. Okay, let's move to the next question. Here we want to focus on the customer journey. Okay, and there's a multitude of different things that we could talk about, but these are the three that you guys kind of identified as what you're in a very practical way using, and that is whether you're attracting, you're retaining, you're moving in, you're answering questions, those paying tenants. What are some of the ways that you're bringing in AI technology there? And Sean, let's get started with you, maybe talking about, your conversational AI chatbots. Maybe go ahead and hit it from your side.
Yeah, so we work with a company that integrates the chat onto our websites as a widget, and over time, the AI component within the chat has improved month over month over month, and customers can get assistance from the bot to find the right unit size, to migrate through the website to get to where you reserve and then ultimately contract to rent the unit. They could get answers on rates, other contract provisions. They can get directions, map directions. It also can take payments. We've been pleasantly surprised how much money we've been able to collect through both the chatbot and also through an automated payment component of the call center platform. And then on reputation analysis, our provider assists us in writing responses to customer reviews. And customer reviews, as you all know, are very critical when people are doing their shopping. If you have bad reviews at a site, people will just turn away and look elsewhere.
Got it. Jeremy, go ahead. Continue on your end.
Yeah, I believe in having our best foot forward, making sure that the website's easy to find. I do believe in call center. We actually have our call center that's in-house. We do utilize the call potential similar to Sean. And then we've recently introduced a chat bot feature on the website that we're still kind of running tests and making sure the strategy works with what we need it to. And really hopeful that this is going to help us on more of our remote properties, because that is another dynamic that we're getting into this year is fully remote. More so, we've been in the hybrid kind of approach, but now we've started taking on properties on the remote end, and the chatbot and the AI I think is going to help us with some of the tedious tasks, some of the calls, incoming calls to the property, alleviate that, and then also help online conversions, because let's face it, we want to be available all times for our customers. After hours, the chatbot's going to help with gate codes, and in the event of emergency, there's an escalation process that happens as well.
Yeah, I like that. And it is related to saving or making more money, right? If you're being able to service tenants and satisfy them with answered questions around the clock, that might be the reason that they rent after hours, for example. Or if they get locked out of a facility and they can get their gate code because they forgot it, and you take care of them seamlessly, they're happy at that point. They don't get upset and get frustrated and leave, right? Sean, I know you hinted on it, but back to reputation analysis, right? I know that you've done some stuff. I'd like you to comment a little bit on how this could be used to even, not only just improve your reviews proactively, but have you used any of this for retention purposes?
Not well. You could argue that review responses are retention, but not really. I think it's the tip of the iceberg in terms of existing customers and a lot of stuff that you could provide to them. So we haven't, but on the review side, we strive to respond to every customer review within 24 hours. And, without having the assistant, writing responses or starting the content of a response to a review, that's a pretty large task. So, covering 25,000 units and 46 properties, we could have like 100 reviews a month to respond to and write like a nice paragraph thanking people. And then there's a little bit of back and forth sometimes. So that's been a big time saver, and it also does a really good job getting us like 90% of the way. And then they also have implemented an AI component that makes sure that all of our citation listings across 60 different online directories are consistent with the right phone numbers, the right addresses, the right office hours, so on and so forth. And that's incredibly important when Google's crawling all of our websites and assigning their ranking, and is another term they use. But yeah, it's been extremely helpful.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just a related, but maybe not exactly related, is another use of AI. For example, folks, you could use Gemini, you can use Claude, you might even use ChatGPT, but let's say Gemini. You can go in and say, here's where my location is, and there's probably even paid for tools that do this better, but just try it. I want you each to find 1 or 2 practical tips today. Here's my zip code, right? Here is, and I am a self-storage facility. This is my name. Identify in a 5-mile radius any of my competitors and tell me how I stack up against the competitors. What do I doing better? Where are my gaps, so that you can actually make adjustments, whether it be on your website, on your frontage. If you have feature deficiencies, you can make improvements, or if you're not unmasking features that you have that you could either match or do better. And so, a lot of this was us having to do drive-bys and mystery shopping. You have tools right now that are free that you can use, right? Again, maybe that's an aha moment from some of you, right? All right, let's continue down on the AI journey. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, let's go to AI pricing optimization. And Jeremy, you sort of talked about it at the beginning on one of your first implementations. Yeah, it's a bit of a game changer. I want to go a little deeper into that and talk about sort of how you see pricing optimized in real time, and especially in markets where you're against REITs, right, that have whole data science teams, right? How is the power of tools like that? How have you implemented them, and how has that helped you combat predatory pricing? I'm sure that's not the right way of describing it, but kind of is that aggressive pricing from the REITs. How have you used the tools?
Well, I think understanding the competition is so important, and then partnering that with a program that's intelligent, like a dynamic pricing program, is going to be key. The pricing program works in conjunction with a store track, and it scrapes rates on a daily basis to give us the most competitive rate at the time. Also, it analyzes the competitors' occupancy, and then the fluctuation of rates and historical data as well. It allows us to confidently move forward with a aggressive rate at the time, and then utilize maybe concessions that maybe sweeten the pot. The optics on the website and how those concessions look are a big piece of it as well. It's really, making sure the customer experience is at the forefront. If we can have customer experience, less friction, easy to read pricing, with the smart unit technology, I know some operators will bundle that into the price. We actually separate that and just build the value in. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. It's just the way that we do it, and it works. When it comes to the dynamic pricing, just as of today, year over year, occupied revenue lift is 5.6%. And then our move-in revenue, we're up another 6.6%. So some really good numbers, considering, what we've seen with some of the softness and some of the markets and the lack of rentals. But we are starting to see good signs of, some of these markets turning around. And again, it's completely different. And the component, when it comes to the dynamic pricing, you really have to look at each market individually and consider the strategy that's going to work best for you.
And the key there is it just because he's saying you have to look at the market, doing it with tools that are highly efficient in doing that and automating that makes it easier to look, wider and deeper, right? Where you might have just done it less frequently or less depth. Now you start bringing in these tools. Sean, what about yourself? What do you want to add to this?
Yeah, first of all, it's uncanny what Jeremy just shared in terms of his year-over-year revenue growth. We were almost at the exact same amount, 5.5% on same store.
Awesome.
But same thing. The competitive data is scrubbed twice a day, and then that's used as the basis of setting prices, including things like vacancy within your own portfolio, vacancies and occupancies of your competitors, obviously the competitive pricing. And then once it recommends a price for like kind of your standard unit, everything else keys off of that. So if your standard unit is say a 10 by 10 inside, well, the 10 by 10 outside will be slightly, will be higher than that. One's closer to the door might be a little higher than one that might be upstairs. Your our walk-in pricing then also keys off of that, because that is basically what we use as our online web pricing. All the promotions key off of that. So it's just a critical component. And when I try to explain to clients, compared to the past, our prices move almost like a stock ticker from day to day. I mean, we're in some markets where there's 52 REITs within, a 5-mile radius. So if we didn't have this tool, we would never be able to compete. And it's like I mentioned earlier, the timing for us was perfect coming out of the COVID lift. We would not have achieved the numbers that we've achieved without that platform, plus our what we call our sales concierge integration with our own staff using the Call Potential platform.
Yeah, and what I want to say, I'm like looking in the comments. Keep your comments coming, folks. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Jennifer. Yeah, I think it was Jennifer. Some of you are just getting started or looking to start a facility. Many of you have one facility. The level of tools that Sean is talking about and Jeremy is talking about, some of them are very readily available and not expensive. Some of them are quite expensive and complicated, okay? Here's the deal. That might be a good reason to go and talk to a Jenkins or a Cubics Management and pull in third-party service, because they have mastered the use of these tools, right? As it relates to, and by the way, these are not nice to haves. We're in a tougher, challenging market. These are kind of like table stakes now. Another thing that's table stakes is using value-based pricing. When you guys go to airlines, they offer you the econo seat, the basic fare, the premium fare, connoisseur class, whatever it is. They offer you the ability to upgrade, pick your seats. And so I believe another area when we talk about making more money, if your website does not have smart value-based pricing and the logic that's behind that and how it populates it, I highly recommend looking at that. We obviously engage that with smart units as a premium with some, but that's a big part of it. Jeremy, one last piece. So value-based pricing is another piece of this, but I know when you and I have talked, you have another tool that you use. A lot of people online here use Sparefoot, and you've actually talked about another tool that actually keeps you updated. Maybe you can comment on that too.
Yeah, so you mentioned competing with the REITs, driving as many leads to the property as we can. I feel like everybody's familiar with Sparefoot, and it is a tool that we utilize for most of the properties. And I'm actually really excited to utilize that as I partnered with a dynamic bidding, or a dynamic kind of bidding pricing dynamic through a company called Bigfoot. And what that allows you to do, it links together with Sparefoot and allows you to it allows you to stay competitive and not overbid for your city and zip rankings. Beforehand, is kind of like sit it and forget it. Maybe check back every few days, and at that point, you may have locked in a rate to get you, in the top 3 in your zip or your city. And in all reality, you probably could have saved some money, because throughout the day, the dynamic of Sparefoot changes multiple times a day. The REITs are changing their strategies multiple times a day. And so, it's just a good practice for me and for our company to continually update that program to allow us to stay competitive, but not overpay or overbid for units we shouldn't have to. It's been a great success, and it's actually very cost effective for your mom and pops or your single operators.
I love this. Again, the theme of the show, the show or the webinar here, folks, is show me the money, make or save. So Jeremy, is just commented on another tool. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the rates, but a big part of your spend in your company in a market like we're in is your marketing spend. So don't overpay. There's a tool that by intelligence can actually save you money on your bidding. That's a great ad, Jeremy. All right, let's move on to broader applications beyond things like chatbots and pricing and call centers. Jeremy or Sean, what do you guys, Jeremy, why don't you pick up? What do you want to comment on?
So going beyond, the chatbots and the pricing, utilizing technology, when it comes to overall kind of maybe maintenance and repair savings would be the Blue Eye system. And that's going to be a security system that's monitored after hours at your facility. And while we don't have this at all the properties, it is a little expensive. It is a necessity at some of the properties that are kind of hot button as far as breaches or break-ins, people on site, theft of vehicles or trailers. And so we utilize this to not only protect the facility and our customers, but essentially, scare off anybody that is looking to breach the property. There is a talk down microphone as well. So not only can they escalate when they see somebody on property, but they can also talk down to the person, telling them that the police have been called and to get off the property. That has been extremely successful for us, alleviating a lot of the after hour activity. And in another case, which is quite cool, we've been able to retrieve an RV that was stolen at the facility. So I've done a few of these before, and I've spoken about, we have police units at some of our facilities, and it's a unit that we converted with TVs and snacks and Wi-Fi, and allow the police department to come in and office out of the facility during off hours or even during office hours. And not only does that allow another layer of protection, but it really creates a close bond with the police department and the facility. So when the manager realized that there was a breach on property and an RV was stolen, the Austin Police Department was there within minutes, and we were able to track down the RV. And we actually have a video of them pulling it back, towed to one of the police officers' patrol vehicles being put back on the property. So just a cool moment, but really believe in that. Again, it's not a cookie cutter where I feel like it's a need at every property, but if you do find yourself consistently repairing gates or fences because of break-ins, maybe this is a solution to consider. Also, as far as broader AI applications, something we've utilized lately is the GOAT system by DaVinci, and that alleviates the need for keypads at your facilities. And I'll tell you, we just got a quote for a property we're going to be retrofitting here shortly, and it was about $10,000 of savings going with this system versus one of the other providers, access control providers in the industry. And while they're all good, some may be restricted cost-wise, and alleviating the keypads and utilizing the access control via QR code has been very successful. And there's a dashboard, just like any other access control, where you can see who enters and exits. And just like any cloud service, there is a fee, but the fees are much less than what you would experience with other access controls.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, a great tool for especially remotely managed properties, a great tool for giving more access hours and charging for it, like smart units. Giving smart access and extended hours is a way to make more money. Again, our theme. And then Jeremy also just gave you something to consider, folks, on a lower cost piece of smart access equipment. Again, saving you money. Sean, I want to go 2 slides ahead. Brooke or whoever's doing the slides, 2 slides ahead. Go to the next one, go past. I'll come back to that. portfolio intelligence at scale. So Sean, like in terms of broader applications, yeah, why don't you talk about kind of some of the things that you've done by looking across your portfolio with AI and smart tech for that matter, as we also work together? What are some of those other things that you're doing for your portfolio?
Yeah, we've been focused on the revenue side, but we're also using data now, where we had two huge line items in all of our budgets, is advertising, pay-per-click advertising, and then on-site staff. And by actually being able to see at our fingertips where customers are actually coming from when they click to our website or pick up the phone and call us, we can see how important SEO is, how important our website is, how important our locations are. Locations that don't have drive-by, we might have to spend a little bit more money. But by really honing in on where the customers are coming from, we were able to reduce our pay-per-click spend and staff, I'll come back to the staff side, by more than the increase in insurance, utilities, and property taxes. So when we look back over 5 years, the spike in insurance that we've incurred in California has been obscene, but we've outpaced it with reductions in our advertising, our headcount, and whatnot, compared to the utilities and property taxes. But on the people side, the call center platform allows us to capture all prospective incoming phone calls with 2 to 3 very good sales folks who have an excellent closing rate. And by doing that, we've been able to reduce office hours, days of the week, and how many people that we have on site, so that the facility managers can focus on customer service for existing clients, walk-ins, light maintenance, and all the other things that they have to deal with. So again, it's not AI necessarily, but like the call center platform is a voice over IP cloud-based platform that allows us to essentially shift some of the labor from the offices to the cloud. I mean, there are other people in our company that are sitting in different offices, and pretty dramatically reduce the expenses. And the amount of money we were spending on pay-per-click too was pretty obscene when I look back 5 years ago, and it's come down dramatically.
One of the things that you've talked to me about before, and I don't think it came through clearly, so I'm going to ask it a little differently, is if I were to just listen to you, a lot of that was, okay, besides the call center, is how you're profiling people with web and web analytics, okay? And that to me is like table stakes, right? But something that you've done that you've shared with me is your approach to actually looking at location-based data, and it's in a proper, safe, compliant way of people just that have phones in their pocket and knowing where they're coming from and who's renting. Can you just comment on that, about how you've used that data in AI to actually be more effective with your ad spending and stuff?
Yeah, it's crazy. Because of location services on everybody's phones, we could look back 7 years and see how many site visits we were getting, by week, by day, by month, over properties that we might take over management next month, going back 7 years. But then we could measure the foot traffic at our location relative to our competitors, and we could define up to 3 competitors for each property. And then we could look at our customers and essentially load the customers' data into a platform that gives us a mosaic of who they are. They have average income of over 200,000. They live in a single family home. They own a small business. They have a fishing boat, all that kind of stuff. And then we could look at their system, and they have like heat maps, and we could like compare how we stack up to, Extra Space or StoreQuest or whomever is our competitor within the 3-mile radius, and see where we're winning and losing business over time. And then because of that, we could then target our pay-per-click advertising campaigns down to like specific zip plus 4s, and then go after those people that we want to get, who will then provide us with less churn and turnover, because the turnover rates in our industry are pretty dramatic. So it's pretty crazy what's out there, but you could use the data and use it in an anonymized way to then leverage and attract a better customer base.
I love this. I love what Jeremy was saying on, the Bigfoot or leveraging, not just what you're bidding, but adjusting it down if you're overpaying. And we got you making sure that we're not just using the web analytics, but even people's location on that wonderful tracker that's in all our pockets, unfortunately, but leveraging it fairly and properly to more optimize your marketing spend as well. So this does drive up conversion, but it also more optimally drives down, right, your cost per lease, because you're going to be more efficiently using it. Your cost of acquisition goes down. So again, if you're hearing this is sophisticated. I can't imagine everyone out there is doing what Sean just said. So, but realize the REITs are doing this with teams, and realize today with the tools that we have, you can do it today. It's more accessible, whether you have access to it or you bring in third-party management to help you compete better. If you go back to the prior slide, please, Jeremy talked about one example. We have solutions, others do as well. I just want to say this about AI cameras to everyone out there. A lot of people are pushing hardware. Hey, you got to buy new AI smart cameras and they got to have this. Our position at Storage Defender is a lot of the cameras you have are just fine, right? And with some additional being able to connect those cameras now up into the cloud, right, allows you to, for example, on our side, the AI processing is done up in the cloud. It doesn't have to be done on a new camera. And you can have best practices with things like license plate recognition and patterns. And it's a person wearing a red coat and he's in an area that he's not supposed to be, and he's got a backpack. And all of that information and smart alerting is available probably on your cameras today, even if you're not getting it, with an investment in, whether it be us or others that have solutions like this. So my main message is, if you've not centralized your cameras and you're not using smart AI alerting, you need to be doing that, not only from security perspective, but it could be for helping, to understand what's going on in your office and the conversions you're getting in your office, or when people are coming. That is all available with smart cameras, but it can be done with software. It doesn't necessarily require new hardware. Okay. I want to move to kind of start wrapping up here, and I want to go to misconceptions. So, we get into it. There's a lot of shiny quarters out there, and there's a lot going on, and it might sound like you guys and we've got this all figured out, but not everything's went well. What misconceptions or lessons have you learned, Sean, when working with this AI or smart technology that you'd want to share, like some heads up?
A lot of people view AI like it's some kind of robot that's going to replace yourself or other employees, and really what it is, it's just a extremely powerful tool that you could leverage. It's kind of like when Excel came out in the 1980s versus having to do spreadsheets by hand. You still have to be involved. You still have to look at the data. It makes you almost like a superhuman in terms of what you can get done. You're still involved. There's still humans involved, having to make the decisions and make the policies to take advantage of the technology.
Got it. Jeremy, yourself.
Yeah, I mean, my advice is, not all tech is for every application. So make sure you're doing your research and know what you're getting into, and then implement that tech at your own pace. Some people like to rip off the Band-Aid, implement all at once, and that works great. That's fine. Other people, other companies, other operators will want to do that in phases, just to kind of get a taste test and figure it out as they get deeper into the tech journey. So really just implement at your own pace and what's comfortable for you and your group.
Yeah, and I'm folks, I see we're starting to wind down. Get your questions in Q&A and comments. Jeremy, thank you for that. In fact, Bentley Alsop from the storage place said, I 100% agree with you. In fact, Bentley also said that he's been trying to use AI analysis. He was commenting on my bringing up the competitive analysis, and he says he's tried it and works 50-50. You get a ton of information, but then you're spending time saved searching information and interpreting. So kind of goes back with, there's always like points in time and things are getting smarter and smarter over time. For those of you who know a little bit more about AI, it's always learning and getting smarter, just like we are, hopefully. And so, yeah, like both Jeremy and Sean said, they're not completely hands off. I mean, maybe an AI chatbot can hit 80% of your questions, but eventually you might have to go to a live person or a live chat. It's not completely autonomous yet, right? It will get smarter. The same might be true for doing competitive analysis, right? I'm going to go ahead and go into our last question for you guys. And then again, yes, sure. Bentley, eventually it will be there, but we're limited by character count, right? So Bentley, we got to just figure out how to say things in 3 words, even though it might need 5 paragraphs. Got it. All right. Rapid fire takeaways, and then we'll get to Q&As. What is one tip from each of you, one thought regarding how they might use AI or smart tech to boost revenue or even save money? What would be your big takeaway from our chat today? Jeremy.
Yeah, the revenue lift is fantastic, but I would say partner that with identifying ways to continuously increase the customer experience. Less friction, customer experience. These are what we want to accomplish with the technology. If the technology is causing much more friction than what we anticipated, it's probably not the best fit for you. So always continuously think of ways to improve your customer experience. And sometimes it's just the little things that make the biggest difference. I will say equally important, if you're not doing it, make sure you have a online rental process where it is touchless for your customer to go on at any time of the day and rent a unit with you.
Sean?
Same as Jeremy. Dynamic pricing, the timing of the implementation for us was perfect coming out of COVID. We all go to sports venues, music venues, fly on airplanes, and go to hotels. They all do it for a reason, because it works. So I mean that, and then also the data. It's like great having all this data, but then how you use it matters as well. So looking at our data through the business intelligence platform, where we could see about 25% of our customers move in and out within 4 months, half move in and out within a year, and then we've got those long-term customers. So we've honed in on them, like, who are these people? So now we've been able to, we're target marketing now to that customer type, because we want more of them and we want less of those who just come and go. So over time, then you start to look at your return on cost and cost of customer acquisition. It's a huge difference if you can retain your customers over the long haul.
Got it. Jeremy, I think you might have been on the call with me. We did one of these maybe 6 months or a year ago, and Darren Kelly from Right Move Storage was in. When I asked this question, he said, he referenced the book, Who Moved My Cheese, right? Many of us have read that years ago. And basically his point was, the cheese is moved. You need to leave the room and go after the new cheese. And what he was basically saying then, and I'm going to say now, is if you're not trying at least 1 or 2 of these things, educating and trying, you're falling behind because everyone else around you is, right? And so, again, there's lots of resources out there. Some of it is shiny and it has big promises and it will fall short. I referenced Bentley's comment earlier, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep trying and educating. And if you're not trying one thing new right now, you're surely falling behind. Even in my business, right? We've been at this business for 6 years. We're looking at restructuring our processes and bringing in more intelligence and making it more available to the teams in a way that makes their jobs more efficient. We can't keep doing things the same way. At the end of this year, you've got to say, I'm doing these few things differently and more efficiently, or you're falling behind, and it's going to make you less competitive. So with that, maybe my favorite book. Oh, Who's that? Is that Barry from Jenkins? Who is that? Barry, what company do you work for? Is that him?
That's Barry with Jenkins.
All right. By the way, Jeremy, what's your favorite cheese? Do you like cheese, and what's your favorite cheese?
I do. Pretty simple, probably just cheddar. There's a lot that I like, but I mean, cheddar, you can't go wrong.
How about you,
Sharp
Sean?
cheddar. Sharp cheddar. It's got to be sharp.
Pepper jack on a hamburger, or like brie cheese with some salami and crackers.
I'm with you on that. The more spicy and stinky it is, I love it. I go for a big hunk of blue cheese myself, right? Yeah, it's. I just like to ask that question. You can actually learn a lot about by someone. If someone says they like just American cheese, that says something different. So yeah, you just learned a little bit about the three people talking, folks. Iris, do we got any questions out there?
We do not right now. Everybody, you got about 2 more minutes to throw your questions out there if you want to.
Hi, Sherry Miller. Sherry Miller there.
We love you.
I'm going to do shout outs until I see questions. I see Sherry Miller from On the Move. I see Barry from Jenkins. I see Bentley from the storage place. I see you. Who else do we see out there? Michaela, I don't know where you're from. You could put your address out there in terms of company. Who else are we seeing out there, guys?
About who Abundant Houseplants is. I'd like to know more about them. We have Abundant Houseplants.
I gotcha.
I think I have something in common with them. Violet Gonzalez. Violet, who are you with? Let us know. Jennifer Lara, she was very active at the beginning of the chat. She said she has been a property manager for the last 5 years, running 2 facilities, and she's trying to learn as much as she can. She's looking at, trying to start her own business in the future. Just like everybody who gets into self-storage, we all want one, right?
John, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you have these facility manager, district managers, you have a whole team of them working for you. They get at it for a while and they have aspirations one day to be owners. What would you say to them?
Depends where they're located. I think if you're in a rural market where you're not slugging it out with the REITs and other super well-run mid-sized management companies, you could probably do pretty well just by blocking and tackling and being logical and using common sense. But if you're in like Silicon Valley, where we have many of our locations, it's hyper competitive. It would be very difficult to just jump in and open a facility and try to compete.
Got it. Got it. Great, Pete. Jeremy, anything you'd want to say as we wind down here?
Yeah, I mean, Sean pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I mean, that was great feedback. It's essential to know your competition, understand how to read the data, and then understanding how to implement what you interpret from the data. I will say, Sean, you spoke about length of stay. And so what I meant earlier about dialing in and adjusting your strategy per market, what I mean by that is, depending on your length of stay, maybe it's increases start at 4 months. So we can dial in and hit that customer before they vacate with an increase and grab that additional revenue. If the length of stay is a little bit more, then maybe we can adjust the strategy. And so I really, the length of stay is super important. And again, it's the data. There's so many data points that you can look at to really optimize what we do day to day. But I will say just since actually year over year, so let's just say it's July through July, 11,000, a little over 11,000 increases at about 12%. And as far as retention of those increases, we've been pretty successful. And again, a big piece of that is the boots on the ground, is the manager and how they talk to the increase, building value to the customer as to why they're getting the increase. I understand the conversations are not going to always be easy, but when we're prepared and we have a good rebuttal as to why we're doing this, we're constantly improving the property. It looks good. It's clean. The manager is Johnny on the spot, professional. Or if we're remote, we're doing the remote dynamic right. because there's a lot of ways this dynamic of the remote management can go wrong. But when it does go right, there's some very, very significant benefits, mitigating some of those big ticket items on your P&L, like payroll, and maybe it's not taking the manager out of the equation altogether. Maybe it's just looking at the data and activity report and just adjusting the days that you're open or the hours that you're open, or maybe just an overlap of managers and maybe reducing the hours.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in and emphasize. Patrick Johnson asked a question. Do you have any technology you guys are excited to try going into in 2026? And I'm going to close the show, the webinar with this. One of the biggest things that I've heard, Patrick, and you've kind of heard it today, is there's a lot of different systems to operate properties. It could be your property management software. It could be your gates. It could be your revenue management software. It could be your maintenance. It could be your smart tech. It could be, a whole bunch of tasks, a whole bunch of things, cameras. I believe what's getting big from what I hear out there is a lot of people are trying to level up their centralized business intelligence capabilities, right? So by that, I mean, yes, it's a problem. We have all these systems, but I think we're going to see an emphasis of bringing all that information together, because the information together is more powerful. And then we have tools like AI that will help us look for patterns. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people bringing it all together, like Sean had talked about with a business intelligence tool. And then I think we're going to really start to see in 2026 the next level of power being unlocked with AI. Team, appreciate you. Jeremy from Jenkins, we'll put up his contact information now. A great resource for any questions you have. Sean, thank you so much. The owner and partner in Cubics Asset Management, a great resource, as you heard. And myself, Mark Siri, we're all available with questions. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you both very much.
Thank you all so much. Made my job easy today. And I wish you all a happy 4th of July, safe weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.
As a business owner, you know how essential clear, actionable insights are for improving customer-facing operations. And yet, feedback is often too broad, shallow, or incomplete. With our AI-powered mystery shopping, transform your audit process from reactive to proactive with real-time, in-depth data that goes beyond surface feedback. Our tailored system identifies your customer experience trends, which resolves issues before they impact business and refines customer engagement strategies, all within just minutes. Simply set your key performance indicators, then let our AI do the rest. Whether you're looking at improving your customer service, sales, or employee performance, you'll get feedback that is not only thorough, but personalized to each of your customers' experiences. Our buildable and customizable packages provide evaluations from foundational to growth-focused insights as your needs grow. Here's how it works. We'll use the high-quality video and audio captured during mystery shops we complete, like this one.
Hello. How's it going? Good. Good. Coming to take a peek at the mouse? Yeah. Okay. Looking to buy a house, build a house, whatever. Excellent. I want a house.
You want a holes? We build them, so you're in the right place.
Okay. What you got, right? Les.
Steve. Nice to meet you.
Steve.
So, first on the model, I take it, Les.
Yeah, right.
How'd you learn about us?
Saw the signs, one of the many here.
Sure, yeah.
Our detail-focused AI will analyze the recording, combing through the interactions for markers based on your specified standards.
You started with a friendly greeting. That's a good start. To enhance this, try weaving in more personal engagement. For example, when the customer mentioned seeing signs and passing through, you could have shared a light, related anecdote or inquired about their experience with other builders, deepening your connection.
Along with the AI-generated video, anyone who needs it will receive a tailored written summary, a score sheet, and an action plan, breaking down the entire interaction to help drive improvement, understanding, and consistency. Elevate your business insights with SBOA's AI-powered mystery shopping. Schedule a demo today and go from in the dark to in the know.